Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And we have here a very, very blatant example of inequality before the law. We'll put it that way. We have a woman who is now an ex-teacher. She was a science teacher. She's 35 years of age and she was convicted of having sex with one of her pupils. And she avoided jail. And I think we all know that if it was the other way round and that 35-year-old teacher was a man, he would go to jail. So why are the courts so lenient on women? It's a question I think that needs to be asked. But she's avoided jail and she's been told that she's banned from the classroom indefinitely, which is a ban that will be overturned at some point. An indefinite ban does not mean a lifetime ban. It just means a ban until such time as the authorities see fit to allow her back. You can guarantee if it was a man, he would never be teaching again. And this is another example of the difference between being a man and being a woman. Is there some difference if you are having this kind of relationship with a child? Is it different if you're a woman or if you're a man? I can't see it. Age differences and all, it's not right. And this woman is clearly a danger to children. She clearly needs to be on the register for the rest of her life. And she must never, ever work as a teacher again. But more importantly, she should be doing some hard time. Let's have a look at the story. Female science teacher, 35, who was spared jail for having sex with a 16-year-old boy after swapping sexual messages for months, is banned from the classroom indefinitely. Shannon Parsons sent a text message to the pupil stating, "Oh, I love you." She also struck up a motivated friendship with his parents. Parsons avoided prison, but admits her action as a teacher were dangerous. Why was she spared a jail cell? Nobody will ever be able to answer that because they daren't. They know the fact is that they didn't want to put a woman in prison for it, because it would be seen as being a bit harsh, and yet they'll happily lock a man up. A female science teacher has been banned from the classroom indefinitely after having sex with a 16-year-old pupil. While teaching in Northfleet in Kent, Shannon Parsons sent a text message to the child stating, "Oh, I love you, want a lift, kiss, and I know we talked about meeting up this week, but I think somebody, blank, would probably tell her dad. I do want to see you soon though." In a calculated manoeuvre, the 35-year-old also struck up a friendship with the child's parents and worked to make both the child, known as Pupil A, and his parents reliant upon her. She is a groomer, and there is no other word, she's just plain a groomer. She's broken the law, she is a P, and she's a groomer, and she needs to go to prison. And the courts have said, no, you can walk free. How can we possibly maintain law and order when the people doing these sort of crimes see the punishment is, oh, you can walk free from court? Unbelievable, isn't it? Parsons was convicted of having a relationship with a pupil and sentenced to 12 months imprisonment, but suspended for 2 years and then allowed to walk out of the court. And there she is, ashamed, hiding her face. Quite right too. She is a P. The court heard that sexual intercourse took place one afternoon at his home while his parents were at work. Parsons was also given a sexual harm prevention order for 5 years and must sign on the sex offenders register for 10 years. Both of those are wrong. The 5 years needs to be life and the sex offenders register needs to be life. Both of them, forever. There can be no hiding place. There can be no forgiveness. They must be reminded constantly of what they are. At a teaching regulation agency professional conduct hearing that followed her conviction, she was banned indefinitely from teaching in schools, sixth form colleges, youth accommodation and children's homes in England. Reaching its decision, panel members concluded Parsons focused on the impact her behaviour had on her life rather than the pupils, and therefore not shown true insight. And you know, I mean, she can cover up. You know, whenever you see her put someone in a mask now, you know it's probably a criminal because no one else wears them. Get the mask on, get the shades on. They need to publish these photographs. She's a convicted criminal. Publish the photographs. Let us all know what she looks like and where she lives. Its report said there was no evidence to suggest that Miss Parsons was acting under extreme duress, and in fact, the panel found Miss Parsons' actions to be a calculated and motivated act. Miss Parsons submitted she forged a friendship with Pupil A and his parents. She offered Pupil A support. Pupil A stated that Pupil A and his mother became reliant upon her. Miss Parsons stated the language used between her and Pupil A mirrored the language and familiarity she used with Pupil A's mother. She was inveigling herself into a family so she could take advantage of a child to abuse them. And that is what she is. There is no other explanation, and there is no excuse for this woman not being behind bars. That sentence needs to be appealed, and that woman needs to go to jail for a substantial period of time. The report stated that she had accepted the language was not appropriate and far exceeded the boundaries of her role, adding Miss Parsons also explained that having never witnessed a healthy relationship, someone coping well emotionally, or having a stable parent to guide her, she was not able to cope with the position of trust awarded to her. Well, then she should never have been a teacher. You need to start doing background checks and make sure that they're psychological ones, because you're putting these people in rooms with children. And it is disgusting. But of course, you don't expect anything less from the teaching unions. They're all lefties. They all keep pushing inappropriate sexuality onto children, very young sometimes. So this sort of thing is going to happen, and it's going to happen increasingly often as this as the lefties attempt to normalise this kind of behaviour. It is sickening. It is disgusting. She is degenerate, and there is no reason for her to be walking the streets. I shall finish there, and I shall come up. There's no way a man being a teacher in that position would be let out of court. He would be doing time. It is just, I find it offensive that so many women are kind of allowed to get away with these crimes. It's as though if a woman does it, it doesn't damage the child. Don't start pandering to the criminals here. We must look at the victims. And whether this victim is a boy or a girl is immaterial. The fact is that they have had this done to them by an adult, and at worst, an adult in a position of trust. That must make the punishment twice as hard. So where it would be any other adult, they should get, say, 10 years. Because it was an adult in a position of trust, it must be doubled. It must be 20 years. You start putting things like that down, and teachers will think very seriously before doing this again, knowing they're going to get 20 years. But to let them walk out of court just sends entirely the wrong message. It's more or less the court saying, well, it isn't that serious, just carry on and do it. Yeah, you'll get a slap on the wrist, but you'll be fine. You won't go to jail. That's what they're saying. That's effectively what they're saying for this kind of crime. And that's wrong. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Just watch your kids when they go to school, and goodbye.